Alright, hey guys, I'm Chris Hepburn. I'm with OnlySP, and I'm here at EGLX, and I'm with Unai, one of the developers of 13am Games that brought you Runbow and is now working on Double Cross.
It's Tom McCall, I'm the lead designer.
So what is your job with Double Cross?
So at Double Cross, I've been mainly the narrative director.
Okay.
So I've planned and written almost all the dialogue, the story, all the investigation system, and I also coded part of it.
Oh, very nice.
Part of the investigation system.
Okay, that's awesome. So I know it plays a lot like Mega Man Zero and like Mega Man X, got some Metroidvania style stuff to it, and a heavy inspiration from Sonic with like the level design. Mm-hmm. The higher up you're doing and the better you do, the quicker you can move and do stuff. So was a lot of that inspiration, and where did that all come from, considering Runbow was like a party game where you race to the end?
Yeah, so Sonic was a big inspiration. Mega Man, some of our designers really like it. Ori.
Okay.
There's this Astro Boy game.
Oh, really?
Astro Boy something that our creative director really likes.
Okay.
And that was one of the big inspirations for also like the game's structure and things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, one of the things we wanted with our new project was to do a single player game.
Okay.
To show that we could do something different from the online racing, right?
Yeah.
So we just like thought of like which games we like, right? We are stuck with platforming because Runbow already kind of did that, and it's familiar territory.
Take what you know and like build on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Single player only game. It is focused on Zahra, who is an agent of R.I.F.T. R.I.F.T. They are the Regulators of Interdimensional Fortification and Travel, and they are or fortification and technology. I'm not sure which one. They're going to be and basically, what you do is, at the start of the game, someone has come through and kind of attacked this agency who is responsible for keeping the peace and mitigating, making sure people don't travel between dimensions or terrible things. And someone's attacked this agency trying to disrupt it, and you're charged with defeating who did that. So you play through 3 different worlds, each having 3 levels of it, and you basically try to piece together who attacked and why. And so you go to these levels, you beat up the bad guys, you interrogate people, you find clues, and eventually put it all together.
Awesome. One of the things within a lot of the levels is upgradium, where you can like upgrade your stuff and so forth. So how'd you guys come up with the whole upgrade system for it?
So, I don't know, it's just a natural idea like we have. Okay. We knew we wanted to have this upgrade system so that you could customize how you played.
Okay.
The way the upgrade system works is you unlock them as you find this upgradium in levels, and then you choose up to 3 of the upgrades you have available. Okay. So you can, if you want to, you can focus on like attack upgrades and be really aggressive. Okay. Or you can focus on jumping, or healing and defensive. Okay. Or you can mix them however you want. Yeah, that was the basic idea of the system.
Okay, and yeah, you could change them at every checkpoint, so it gives you a little bit more versatility going into each level.
Yeah, for instance, if you die in an area, you may just, I'm going to change this attack by a jumping thing, because it's a platforming challenge.
Yeah.
And it's especially useful against boss fights.
Oh, really? Yeah. Nice. How big are the boss fights we're looking at?
They're not too big.
Okay. So something more like the Mega Man style, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them are one room.
Okay.
One of them goes beyond that room, but most of them is just one room. Okay. The bosses are big compared to the main character size.
Okay.
But it's in a smaller, more confined environment where like you feel that pressure.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, just kind of like pressure the player and give them some anxiety.
So, can you give us any funny development stories? Tons, but yeah. I mean, one thing that, we've made 2 platformers now. One thing that always happens, regardless of what we do or how careful we are, is there's always some flying bug. So at some point in development, somebody figures out how to infinitely jump or how to fly, and it just breaks everything. Okay. So that's a fun one that comes up a lot. Actually, in some of the levels in Utopia, there's kind of this rising and sinking incident, I would say. Okay. And that kind of started with one day we said we're going to take a break from these projects and just kind of everybody take half a day and just kind of screw around with the game we were going to use. And see what you can kind of come up with. And I was just playing through the physics controllers and the physics kind of variables. And I was like, oh, there's a buoyancy. And so I started playing around with that, and then I found out that like it worked well with the stuff that we'd already made. Like some positive hiccups when you put it in, which doesn't sound game breaking. I'm going to get to that. But so things like I was like, oh, you can make platforms float, and it was kind of cool. So we ended up using it. But what I didn't take into account for was things could flip and overturn, or things could be moved. And so in the acid that doesn't kill you, one of our art director, Takashi, is a very patient man who loves breaking things. So he actually took a bunch of these floating platforms and kind of just stacked them up to the side of the level, and then used them to get above and break the camera and get over the level. And like, you know, the first Mario?
Yeah.
You can get up on the stage and he just started doing that. And then he came to me and was like, oh, I felt really bad, like, you kind of heard me about it. And I was like, what did you do? And he showed me, I stacked up. I was like, oh, you're the worst. It's like, you killed my baby. Oh, he just scared the crap out of me because he's like, oh, I broke everything. What? Like, yeah, it took me an hour. He did it.
Yeah, since you're the narrative designer, how'd you come up with the whole case file and like the clue system? Because that seems to be inspired by Phoenix Wright.
Among others, yeah.
Yeah?
So like early on, we realized that we wanted to add more mechanics besides the platforming.
Okay.
So because we were doing this story about like this interdimensional detective, we thought of having like some detective stuff, right?
Okay.
We started by having this. The original idea was like this detective board, where as you complete levels, you unlock items or things that you can place there and connect them with strings. That was the original idea. But as we play tested and kept going on, we simplified it.
So how'd you guys come up with Zahra, the main character? Like, where did she come through in the story? Like,
so she was one of the earliest things we had.
Okay.
At the beginning, the game was mechanically was actually pretty different. Had to do with more with magnetism.
okay.
But from the first story we wrote for it, the main character was already this young woman who was exploring this world and dealing with certain issues. And even as the plot and the game evolved, we just kept Zahra as the main character. Her design changed, her name changed.
Yeah.
But she's basically the same person from the very beginning.
So the same sort of personality.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It's just a character that we felt is relatable.
Okay.
It's a character who enjoys exploring and visiting new places and meeting people, and that just fits with the gameplay we wanted.
Alright, so you guys have this crafting mechanic. So as you're running by, there's like little orbs. You use the movement on the right, on the left analytic, sorry, you hit the right trigger and it pops up a little thing, time slows down, and you attach to something and it kind of like sneaks you up.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that idea from?
It started out as magnets. So the original game, we were playing around with like charging, applying charges to things and attracting and repelling your player throughout levels. And we found the most fun was actually just the attraction, just charging something and pulling yourself towards it. So to kind of simplify the idea and kind of nail it down to something we could just work with and iterate on, we just said, well, let's just hone in on that. So that's kind of where that started from. And then, over the years of iteration and actual mechanic, we've learned a lot of how to make it feel good and things like that. So, for instance, it used to just dead stop somewhere at a time and freeze. And we found that people would actually just hit and then fall to their death. So, through iteration, we kind of have it feeling the way it feels now. We've got a lot of feedback that we're doing pretty well. So,
Yeah, I'm liking it. Even with like the speedrunning levels, it felt really fluid. Like it was just easy to hit the button and keep going. Like it never, even though time slows down, it doesn't stop. It keeps this momentum going, which is pretty nice.
And it's also used, I mean, you guys, I think, levels you played, I'm not sure if you got too much into it, but in the combat, it actually plays a part as well. So there are different enemies where they'll throw something at you and you actually grab it out of the air penalties and throw it back at them.
I didn't get to try that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And that comes up in a couple of different situations as well. So
Yeah, I mean, mainly in combat, I was using it to like launch myself up to dodge a horde, get to the other side, and then turn around and beat up the guys that are charging me.
That's one way to do it too. It's a pretty versatile.
Yeah, and you also have like some levels that we were playing that there was balloons that if you lash on, it raises you up, and you can maneuver through places, and that also gives the levels a lot of verticality, like Sonic and like the Mega Man games, where if you're playing it right, you can get up and then continue on like an easier path if you're it's a much more rewarding path in a way.
Now, I remember playing one level, it was this goo level. Was that inspired by Portal? Because it had like all these different goo and like blocks, and they all kind of acted different, and you'd just be like sliding across while this green acidic goo would be chasing you. It was super hard, but it was super fun and like really rewarding if you were able to get the jumps and the swings right. It felt very Sonic, because like as you were doing better, you were up at the top, and the more you were struggling, the more you were at the bottom and like having to jump over stuff and move blocks. So like, did Portal and Sonic both come together to make this like one level, or how did that all come together?
Not really, not in this case. It was more, so we have 3 worlds, other than the Rift Station, which are Gootopia, Reptaria, and the Thunderdome.
Okay.
Reptaria and the Thunderdome are more, they're built almost more from top to bottom.
Okay.
So like, we started with the concept. We knew we wanted to have this, Reptaria is Mad Max with dinosaurs. The Thunderdome is this like crazy, almost theme park-like city ruled by robots.
Okay.
For Gootopia, it was more like gameplay-based. The designer Tom, he had some ideas of, and each level is built on 2 different types of goo.
Okay.
So one of them is the goo that chases you and the slippery goo.
Okay.
In another one, it has bouncy goo and sticky goo.
Oh.
And the other one has absorbing goo and acid goo.
Okay.
And it's just, the entire levels are built around that.
I noticed like some of the characters in the game are pretty funny. Like you have a big like buff flower dude. I heard of something, Sasquatch or what's this?
Dr. Sam Squatch.
Okay. How did some of these characters come to be? Because they're really entertaining, and I get like this whole Mega Man vibe from it, and like this Mass Effect vibe, and it's really cool.
Yeah, so at first, with most of them, we start with like the concept, like the role.
Okay.
For instance, with the big flower person, Sergeant Sprout, we Sprout Iron Bulk. We wanted like a trainer for like the training part of the game. With Dr. Sam Squatch, we started with a scientist who opens the portals for you.
Okay.
And when I write it, I just write that. I don't give them a name. I don't even give them a species or anything. He's just the doctor, the trainer. And then when it goes to the artists, they come up with some ideas of what they could be. And then we all come together, the artist, narrative, and the creative director, and we think of which one is the funniest for the character, right?
Okay.
And then we come up with the names and etc. For instance, with the trainer, they come up with like this insect, they come up even with a broccoli person, another one was a shark. I also suggested I suggested the flower because of this instance when I was a kid and I had to dress up as like a flower for school, and it was a bit embarrassing, and I had to dance. And I just thought, like, what if the gym trainer is a flower? And they drew it, and it was funny, right?
Okay. Conquer that bad memory.
Yeah. And then it just, once we have, okay, this is the art we like, let's do the final art.
Okay.
And we come up with names for them.
Cool.
Sergeant Sprout Iron Bulk was originally named Sergeant Swole. It was based on Terry Crews. Sam Squatch was very fast.
Oh yeah?
It was like this joke that one of the artists made early on, and it just stuck. We have Dr. Sam Squatch forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we've actually had a few technical issues. And so one of the major questions I wanted to ask you was, for up-and-coming developers and people that want to get into game design, would you suggest going to school like you did, or how would you suggest to get into the industry?
I mean, it's obviously a case-by-case basis depending on who you are and how you work. For me, I came out of an engineering program and didn't want to do that anymore, and I was like, I really like games and I want to make them, so let's try this. And I knew that I needed to surround myself with like-minded people, or else I wouldn't really take the initiative to do it myself. And I just knew that because I know who I am. There are other people out there that you can just watch YouTube videos and learn a bunch of stuff. But what I would say, it's kind of unanimous, whether you go to a program or not, is to just try to make games yourself. You know, if this is something you want to do, it should be something that you can try on your house.
So I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You've been here for a while. I do know that you came from George Brown here in Toronto. It's a great program. Mm-hmm. Would you recommend people that want to get into game development and so forth going to school for game design or game development? Is that after everything you went through, and the success you had with Runbow, and let's be honest, it was kind of luck, but it was also a lot of skill. Would you recommend a program like that to up-and-coming developers?
I would recommend it, yeah. Ultimately, it depends on each of us and our techniques for learning.
Okay.
Like, some people are just better at learning on their own, sure. For me, it was really helpful to have professors who had like actual experience in the industry and who could give really good advice. There were my classmates, most of them ended up being 13AM, and they were all brilliant with a lot of ideas. And the opportunities that you get to access, like the job offers and stuff like that, there's so many.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it requires some work, everything does. But to me, it was totally worth it, and I would certainly recommend it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Alright, so I'm sorry to cut you off, but like our battery's about to die. So I just want to give you a big thank you. It's been an honor to play the game, and an honor to meet my old postgraduate people. It's an honest inspiration, and it's cool to see you and the success that your team's doing. Thank you. What time is the game shipping again?
So the game comes out in early January 2019.
Early January 2019.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And I meant to ask, did you get Nintendo to back your game? Because it is coming on the Switch.
Well, we reached out. I mean, obviously we have a good connection there, but they've agreed to help us with some stuff. I mean, with the success of the Switch, they've got a lot on their hands. So.
Yeah, I believe it.
But they've offered some support. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you again for joining me. I'm Chris with OnlySP.
Unai from 13AM Games.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And when does the game come out? Hopefully
January 2019, Switch and Steam.
Awesome.